Hello, I'm back again. Figured could use a good distraction for a couple of minutes, and I was playing Elden Ring. And every time a From game comes out, or From game, I think it's From Software. There's always the debate: should there be an easy mode? Should there be, difficulty settings? And it always comes down to this: the get good crowd versus the crowd that says they just want to be able to have fun and enjoy the game. And I think everybody maybe is approaching it wrong. I don't like gatekeeping. I don't like the idea of gatekeeping the game and just being like, oh well, just get good or go away. However, I feel like everybody should encourage other people to get better. I I don't necessarily think it should have difficulty settings because I don't know if anybody's on my channel I put up some guitar stuff. I'm a guitar player and I'm also a person that likes games. And if you think about games as a skill, like especially the Souls games, those games are you need a skill to be able to play them. And not every game requires you to develop a skill as deep as the Souls games do. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to have any skill to be good at any games. Obviously, you do. But even when you get Call of Duty and you start playing Call of Duty, your first match is probably not good, But over the time of playing, you learn things and you take that knowledge to each Call of Duty game. And over time, when you jump into multiplayer, you kind of know what you're doing, right? Well, if you apply that as if you flip the rules, take video games out, and say it's musicians talking, right? And somebody comes in brand new to a guitar, and they start playing it, and they're like, "Man, this is too hard. I don't like this. It should have an easy mode." No, I know you can't, but and they just don't want to do it, and they give up, and it's like, "Oh, it's too hard. It's not for me." It's not necessarily not for you. Guitar's hard for everybody when they start. Souls games are hard for everybody when they start. It's a skill that you have to learn. And once you learn that skill, it becomes easier. And these games are not about the instant gratification. Guitar is not about instant gratification. You have to practice your skill and learn a skill. And I mean, you might think I'm stupid, but since I do both, I can see the similarities in both. When you learn your first Souls game and you stick with it, those skills you develop carry to the next Souls game. Much like if you get a new guitar, you learned how to play guitar on one guitar, you can use that, to play any guitar. Um, when a new Souls game comes out, you take the knowledge you got from the first one you played and learned, and the things you learned, and if you beat it and everything, and you apply that to the next one. Now, some of them might be different, a little bit different. New mechanics you gotta learn. You gotta learn the patterns of the new bosses. Kind of like you're learning the patterns of a scale or the chords for a guitar. Um, there's a lot of similarities between the two. Now, Souls-like games that are not made by From Software might be a little different. They might have the same feel, but different mechanics. And that's kind of the same thing as, okay, I know guitar. I got good at guitar. Let's say I want to learn how to play a banjo. Well, you still have those skills you've learned, The banjo's maybe tuned a little different. Strings are tuned a little different. I still know how to play it. I just have to learn those new shapes, those new patterns. I got to learn the ins and outs of the new instrument, much like a different game that maybe is developed by a different developer. And even from software, like Sekiro was a lot different, but you still knew how to play that guitar, you just had to learn the new chords. You still had to learn that, you had to learn how to play the banjo, basically, instead of the guitar. Um, when you think of it like that, I understand why people that are good at these games can look at other people and just be like, oh, well, you just gotta get good. Stop whining and stop complaining. I understand it, but I don't agree with it. Nobody should gatekeep. Everybody should want to encourage people to have fun and enjoy these things. And maybe show them ways of doing it. Teach them tricks. Like a new guitar player wants to learn, an experienced guitar player, you teach them. Show them how to hold a pick. Show them how to tune their guitar. Show them things. Teach them. Encourage them to get better. I don't believe these games need a difficulty setting. In fact, I would be pretty bummed out if they did because I developed a skill over my years of playing these games. They're my favorite games. And Elden Ring has basically perfected everything. And now I just gotta learn some new scales, some new chords, some new riffs. I gotta learn the new bosses. All these skills become, you know, you got good after time. And it's a learning process. It's not about instant gratification. You're not gonna run in and just decimate everything. It's about the feeling of overcoming, learning, and taking your time and getting good at it over time. It's okay to start this game and be stuck on a boss for a week. You run, maybe you leave a little bit and you level up, you run around, you learn some easier songs, and then you come back and you can play that concert. I hope this makes sense. I hope my little analogy here can make sense. I think these games are a little different. These games are hard in a different way. Like Ninja Gaiden was hard for Nintendo. Returnal's hard, but they're hard in different ways. Um, the Souls games have a very steady method to them. And once you learn that, it's just like hitting a power chord on the guitar. It's not so hard anymore once you understand what's happening. It might be hard when you first try to learn a new sweep pattern, but then once you memorize it, or a new tapping, thing, once you kind of start getting it, you're like, oh, it's not so hard anymore. Same with these games. They're just kind of a different breed of games. A breed of game that comes along with a skill you need to have, and maybe some luck too. Kind of like making it big in music. You kind of get lucky. You work hard, but you also kind of get lucky. Same way with these games. Sometimes you just get lucky and you hit that final blow on that boss, and maybe you only have this much health left, but you did it. You did it. And maybe the next time you play it again, you're like, oh man, why was this so hard? Kind of like when you learn a riff. The first time you learn it, it's hard. And then the second time you play it, you're like, oh man, well, I didn't, my muscle memory's getting better. All this stuff's getting better. So yes, I believe, in my personal feelings, these games are perfect. They don't need a difficulty setting. I think that would diminish everything these games set out to be and accomplish. And that's just my opinion. You are totally in your right to disagree with me, and that's fine. It's just my opinion, and I feel like if you look at it as an instrument or acting or anything like that, nobody would just pick up a guitar and say, "Oh, this is garbage. This is nothing. This sucks." Because it clearly doesn't, and there's people out there that are good at it, and you enjoy the product from it. Um, you just have to learn it. And for some reason, people don't look at games as a skill you have to learn and develop. They want that instant gratification, and it doesn't always come with a lot of these games. Um, I think if you try and you don't rush, you don't get frustrated. You can get frustrated, but don't let that seep into the game. If you start rushing through, be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna get here. I'm gonna do this," and just keep going. It's not gonna always work out for you. You have to take your time. You know what? This big giant obstacle, it becomes smaller and smaller. When you first see this giant boss, and you're like, "Oh man, I'm never gonna beat this." Over time, you'll be like, "Man, I can't believe I thought I'd never beat that. That was one of the easiest bosses in the game." And I promise you, if you keep at it, it gets easier. There's always a little bit of a cheese method for most things. There are ways of making things easier. And even if it's just getting better at the game and learning little tricks here and there, little ways of. Even the Gwyn fight in the first Dark Souls, there's a little thing that sticks out of the ground, and you can just walk around it and get him trapped behind it. And when he hits you, your sword will go through the thing, so you can hit him. And you just kind of be wav. That's not a word. At least not in the way I'm trying to say it. You get him to move around it, and you can kind of trap him there, where he can't actually hit you because he hits the stump thingy. And as long as you're back far enough, he won't hit you, but you can hit him. Okay? There's always a way. Okay? There's always a way. Same with music. There's always a way. You will figure it out eventually. You just gotta be patient and develop your skill. Okay? That's basically it for this TED Talk. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope everybody's, keeping their minds at ease as much as possible. I know it's hard. But, yeah, that's it for this video, I guess. I hope you think about what I said, and maybe it can help you look at it a different way. But I hope everybody's enjoying Elden Ring. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Trying to enjoy it as much as I can. Um, yeah, I guess that's it. Until next time.